So Nobody 2 has some great action, but is it a great action film? What key thing or character is it missing? Grab yourself a cup of coffee and let's find out. Allow me to read to you what IMDb describes as the plot of Nobody 2. Suburban dad Hutch Mansell, a former lethal assassin, is pulled back into his violent past after thwarting a home invasion, setting off a chain of events that unravel secrets about his wife Becca's past and his own. Yeah, I mean, I'd say that's half right. One thing this description misses is that this chain of events is set against the backdrop of a magical water park vacation. Where the first movie took place in warehouses and clubs, Nobody 2 takes place in arcades and theme parks, and also warehouses. Bob Odenkirk as Hutch makes for such a good action protagonist. He sells being a badass, but also being weak when necessary, being human. He beats up people for sure, but he gets beat up too. He feels vulnerable. When he's in pain, you feel that pain. His character is also just a bit more interesting because sure, he's like John Wick, right? We all know John Wick. But if John Wick had a family, if he had a wife and kids, that allows for shades of something like Spider-Man 2 to pop out, right? Where Hutch has to balance his time fighting crime, doing odd jobs, but also time with his kids. Speaking of John Wick, we do not give films like John Wick and The Raid for what they have done to modern action. There was a time in cinema where the camera just forgot how to film a fight scene. It was choppy and full of shaky cam and so aggressively edited that you couldn't see anything. Now in a film like Nobody 2, the camera lingers longer on the action. It zooms in on the punches and the impacts that it wants you to see. Instead of the camera shaking like crazy to film the action, the camera follows it here. Like how Hutch will punch a guy to the ground and the camera will follow him as he falls. It's action you've seen before, sure. Nobody 2 doesn't push any boundaries, okay? But at least always puts a spin on the action you're familiar with. So for example, remember that elevator fight scene in Captain America: The Winter Soldier? Nobody 2 has a similar sequence, but now there's an innocent bystander in the elevator with them. That adds a whole new layer of action, a new chess piece on the board that you have to account for. Nobody 2 has a few examples of action that you've absolutely seen before, but does just one more thing to re-spark your interest in it. That spark is boosted greatly by this fun-spirited water park vacation setting that Nobody 2 takes place in. It's already fun to watch Bob Odenkirk beat up a bad guy, but to see him do it with a whack-a-mole cabinet? That's good stuff. It kept me hooked. The first Nobody had some silly aspects to it too, for sure, but this is just much sillier in its execution. It is doubled down on with this water park setting. Some people may think it's too much. Personally, I wish they did more with it. There's a fun-spirited energy here that the first movie lacked, which really sets Nobody 2 apart from other action films. What other movie contrasts severe violence with a family-friendly duck boat? And now, we can talk about the other stuff. Firstly, there is some truly awful ADR here. Like how a character is saying words, but the way their mouth moves make it look like they were filmed saying something completely different. The fun action sets this film apart, yes. But everything else in this movie blends Nobody 2 into the most generic action film possible. Firstly, yeah, I love the fight scenes, but never the excuses to get there. The moments in the script to get us to a fight are the laziest possible methods of doing so. The main conflict comes from the most stupid and needlessly cartoonish characters I have seen all year, and that's coming from someone who watched Jurassic World Rebirth. For example, the arcade fight scene that you saw in the trailer, great fight scene, loved it. But the first thing I remember about it is it's starting with this guy saying, "Hey nerd, I heard you gave my girlfriend some of your arcade tickets, you nerd." Like really, that's the best we've got? There's a sheriff in this town who hates Hutch for no reason. Like seriously, it all starts because he thinks Hutch looked at him funny. He never brings anything interesting to Nobody 2, nor does the boss that he works for, which is this psycho lady that I don't remember the name of. Did they say her name? If you told AI to generate a movie villain, it would probably come up with a character slightly more interesting than this one. Just a generic give me my money gang leader who kills people for no reason. They try to make her psychotic and cuckoo bananas to fill in that gap. Like the movie will cut to her dancing before a fight scene to some sort of music in the background, as if that's supposed to add any depth to her character. No ties to Hutch, no ties to his past, just blah, just character vomit. I'm a simple-minded man, alright? I'm not opposed to a movie generating excuses to get me to the action. Hell, the action's what I bought a ticket for anyway. But every time we move away from Bob Odenkirk, every time we get a sneak peek behind the curtains into these villains, I'm just like, dude, fast forward through this. These characters are annoying. They are not interesting. They lead to action that I watch, but not action that I'm invested in. Nobody 2 is only 1 hour and 30 minutes long. And when maybe 30 of those minutes is spent watching just annoying excuses for fight scenes that don't hold my interest, I wish I had a fast forward button. But that does leave 60 minutes of a movie that I did really enjoy. I really liked the third that is Hut struggling to make time for his family, be a better example of a dad for his son. I really liked the third that has him slamming people into arcade cabinets and running through a booby-trapped theme park. They're all moments that make you see why Nobody 2 was such a great idea. The meat on this movie's bones are good. I just wish the connective tissue of its cartoon villains and its background side plots were either given more runtime to breathe or more time in the writer's room. I'm gonna say, wait to see the good stuff that Nobody 2 has to offer at home when it hits streaming. But what did you think of Nobody 2? Do you want to see a Nobody 3? If so, what do you think it should look like? Should it be weird, or should it go kind of back to more this grounded tone of the first one? Let me know down in the comments below, and for more movie chats like these over a cup of coffee, like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.